Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're doing something a little different. We're not just explaining a topic, we're going to decode an actual exam. We're going to show you how to think like an examiner so you can absolutely master your GCSE biology paper. Let's get right into it.
You know that feeling, right? We've all been there. You've revised for weeks, you feel like you know your stuff, but then you see a question and just think, what on earth do they actually want from me? You're left guessing what the examiner really wants to see. Well, today, that guessing game ends. We're going to pull back the curtain and show you exactly how to read an examiner's mind. So, on the left, you've got the challenge, question 1 from a past AQA paper. And on the right, our secret weapon, the official mark scheme. Yep, this is the document that tells examiners exactly what gets a mark and what doesn't. We're going to use it to see how every single point is scored. All right, first up, question 1.1. This is a classic opener for a lot of papers, a quick test of your core knowledge, those precise definitions you absolutely have to nail down.
The question is, what name is given to all of the organisms living in the same habitat? It's just for 1 mark. Take a second. What do you think?
And the mark scheme is crystal clear. The only answer they'll accept is a community. See? No wiggle room, just one very specific biological term. That's our first mark in the bag. The big lesson here? You've got to know your definitions cold.
Okay, let's move on to 1.2. This one builds on that idea and gets into how we classify different species. So we're looking at 4 birds here: the brambling, bullfinch, chaffinch, and goldfinch. The real paper gives you their scientific names, and the question is, which 2 are most closely related? Now here's the thing, the clue isn't really about what the birds look like. It's hidden somewhere else.
And the answer is the brambling and the chaffinch. So why is that? Well, because their scientific names both start with the same word, Fringilla. That's their genus, and sharing a genus is a dead giveaway that they're super closely related. It's a classic exam trick, right? Hiding the answer in plain sight.
The next part, 1.3, digs even deeper. It asks for the real, fundamental reason why a brambling and a bullfinch are considered totally different species. What is the ultimate biological test?
And here it is, straight from the horse's mouth. The mark scheme gives the answer word for word. They cannot breed together to give fertile offspring. It's not about their size, or what they eat, or where they nest. It all comes down to that. It is the core definition of a species. Another key definition, another mark secured.
Okay, time for a skill that, let's be honest, comes up in pretty much every science paper you'll ever take: interpreting data from a graph. This is all about describing what you see, but doing it in a really structured way.
So we've got this graph showing bird populations. The question wants us to describe the trend for species A. That's the dotted line at the bottom. Now look closely. See that? It's worth 3 marks. That is a massive clue. It means the examiner isn't just looking for a vague description. They want 3 distinct, separate points from you.
So how do we get all 3 of those marks? It's easy if you follow the mark scheme's recipe. Mark number 1, you say the number is constant from January to about March or April. Boom. Mark number 2, you say it increases from mid-April to May. And for mark number 3, you point out that it decreases from May or June all the way to December. See? 3 clear stages, 3 easy marks.
Okay, now this is where the mark scheme is absolute gold. It gives these extra notes just for the examiner, and now we get to see them. Look, they'll allow you to use month numbers instead of names. Super helpful. They'll ignore any mentions of seasons, so don't even bother writing about spring or summer. And get this, there's a special case. If you just write constant, then increase, then decrease without any dates, you can still scrape 1 mark. This is the kind of insider info that helps you squeeze out every possible point.
All right, let's wrap up question 1. These last 2 parts are all about drawing conclusions from the data. Basically, what does it all actually mean? Question 1.5 throws a curveball. It says a disease hit in June and July and asks which species had the lowest resistance. So we look back at that graph and whoa, species B takes an absolute nosedive during that time. A really sharp drop means high mortality, which means low resistance. So the answer, as the mark scheme confirms, is B. Simple as that. And the final part, it tells us one species migrates. Our job is to figure out which one, and importantly, why. So you need 2 things for this mark: the right bird and the right reason taken directly from the graph.
The answer is species D.
You can see its population is just 0 for a big chunk of the year. But check this out. The mark scheme shows there are a ton of ways to get the mark for the reason. You could say it's present only May to September, or not present in winter, or even something as simple as not present for all the year. As long as you connect species D to the fact that it's not there all the time, you get the mark. Pretty flexible, right?
And just like that, that's it. By thinking like an examiner and just following the roadmap laid out by the mark scheme, we figured out how to lock in all 8 available marks for question 1. Nice.
So what's the big takeaway here? What have we learned? It's that understanding the mark scheme isn't some kind of cheat code. It's a fundamental exam skill. It teaches you how to present what you know in the way that's going to get you the most points.
So here's your toolkit. First, lock in those keywords and definitions. Second, always be on the lookout for clues, like those genus names we saw. Remember to structure your answers based on the marks. A 3-mark question needs 3 points. Use the examiner's notes to your advantage. And finally, always link your reasoning directly to the evidence in front of you.
With these principles, you're no longer just answering questions, you're strategically collecting marks. You now know how to think like an examiner. The only question left is, which exam will you decode next?